topic today will be resurgence of forgotten infections. The flow of talk would be the most common presenting features of what has been forgotten, unusual manifestations, which could include complications, the usual management, which we all know of, some myths and facts about the usual medications we use, and if at all any recent advances, then I would be touching upon them. So the topics which I would like to discuss today would be ascariasis, hookworm, trichuriasis, of course, dengue, which has not been forgotten and which is now very rampant in Chennai, filariasis, trachoma, cysticercosis, leprosy, echinococcosis, leishmaniasis, and rabies. Now, if you may have a doubt how I did arrive at these 11 topics specifically when so many have been forgotten. If you see our numbers, there has been a recent study in Health Metrics, Institute of Health Metrics, where India's population has been compared with the amount of infections we have world over comparison.
Your slide is not moving. Sorry.
Okay, now sir, now is it visible now?
Slide is visible.
So your slides are visible, sir, but it doesn't move.
It's only
not in
now,
slideshow. It's not in slideshow.
Okay,
first slide. You are with the first slide.
Okay, still in first slide. Just wait.
Still in first slide. Yes. Yes. Now we got it.
Yes, sir.
Now got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. See, if you see how we got into these numbers, the numbers come from Institute of Health Metrics, where so many infections have been ranked first when compared to our population, whereas we are standing number 2 in the world population, whereas in all these infections we are standing in number 1. Now coming to the ascariasis part, I will try to tell you only the important things which are highlighted in red. The most unusual complication which we need to all be aware is pulmonary, which specifically presents like asthma or hyperreactive airway disease. And very dreaded complications could be intestinal blockade, duct blockages leading on to cholestasis and pancreatitis, which are very dreaded, and eosinophilic pneumonitis. That is more than enough if we know about ascariasis. And the albendazole, mebendazole, ivermectin doses we all know of, and all these are there in the books which we need not be brushed upon. Coming to the next part, which is hookworm infestation. It is mostly asymptomatic. The only thing which will be important in this particular infection or infestation would be anemia and protein loss. Mind you, any infection or any worm infestation, we are always bound to give iron supplements, and that will be even more important in this particular scenario. Coming to the third one, trichuriasis, which is also called whipworm. If you see the infection, if you see the image here, it is looking like a whip. But the most important thing is it very much mimics the acute bacillary dysentery with painful bowel movements, tenesmus, mucus, water, and blood. And there will also be associated rectal prolapse. So when we are seeing a case of acute dysentery presenting with blood in the stools along with rectal prolapse, we always should bear in mind about trichuriasis, which has been forgotten. Now, the other one is lymphatic filariasis. Nowadays, we are not seeing much, but in the coastal belt of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, when we used to go on a trip as children, we used to see a lot of cases of these who will be there at the religious places of worship. And that is the most common cause of disability all over the world. It is a leading cause of permanent disability in the world. And there is something new in this. What is new here? Recently, sensitive antigen and antibody assays, along with Doppler ultrasonography and lymphoscintigraphy, it has been proven that anything can be reversed in children. So there comes the WHO concept of mass drug administration, which is capable of reversing the subclinical lymphatic damage in children, and that has been termed by the World Health Organization as beyond LF benefits. So that is where is important. This coastal belt with MDA or mass drug administration can really prevent this disease. Now coming to trachoma, the unfortunate point is that it mimics viral conjunctivitis, but viral conjunctivitis is as simple, and this is so complex. It can lead on to corneal scarring or cloudiness, partial or complete loss of vision. If you can see here, it is the normal eye, and the eye can be scarred, and there can be a permanent blindness also, which is irreversible. So trachoma is very important. I'll just touch upon the treatment. WHO recommends 2 antibiotics for it. One is oral azithromycin and also tetracycline. Why 2 for a simple infection? That is because chlamydia trachomatis can occur and colonize the nasopharynx. Therefore, the patients may reinfect themselves if only topical antibiotics for the eye is used. So the strategy would be a safe strategy: surgery for trichiasis or the indrawing of the eyelid, antibiotics, facial cleanliness, and environmental improvement. Coming to cysticercosis, we all know about neurocysticercosis, but the thing is, the most common presenting feature here again is only headache. We all know with the increasing screen time, nowadays we are seeing a lots and lots of migraine, which again is presenting again with most commonly headache, but we all have to have an open mind about thinking about a lateral diagnosis when a child is recurrently coming with headache without any known cause. We may need to consider neurocysticercosis. And once the treatment is started, seizures may occur and they have been temporarily associated unless and otherwise a steroid is used, which is the routine case which we all know. So coming to the treatment of neurocysticercosis, it can be either albendazole that usually is given for 2 to 4 weeks, but corticosteroids like dexamethasone has to be given initially for 3 to 4 days to decrease the risk of the seizures because of Jarisch Hersheimer-like reaction. Coming to echinococosis, cystic echinococosis is very simple to treat, but can result in death if there is anaphylaxis, cyst rupture, and this can occur even on table while the cyst is being aspirated. But the most other rare thing should be a parasitic tumor-like presentation, which is alveolar echinococosis, and it can present like a solid tumor anywhere in the body. It can invade and destroy the surrounding tissues. So the take-home message here is that echinococosis has to be kept in mind in solid tumors, which is invading and destroying the surrounding tissues. The mode of approach will be percutaneous aspiration, injection of chemicals, and reaspiration. And benzimidazoles or the albendazole can be given, should be given, and in fact, for 2 years at least. And the monitoring should be carried on for at least 10 years, where recurrence is quite possible. Coming to leishmaniasis, this again is a mimicker. This leishmaniasis is a parasitic disease which can occur even years after the sandfly bite. Internal organs are involved. That is the reason why the name has been given as visceral. And it mimics bone marrow depression and a lymphoreticular malignancy. So in endemic regions, any case of lymphoreticular malignancy with fever, weight loss, and lymphatic enlargement, spleen and liver enlargement should be given a thought about visceral leishmaniasis. And the duration of the treatment can be prolonged with liposomal amphotericin of miltefosine or sodium stibogluconate. Now the other one, important one, is leprosy. We are not seeing much cases nowadays, but surprisingly, when I went through the medical literature, as early as 2018, 135,000 cases has been found out, and among them 87% of the cases were children. So this is a big burden of the disease over the community, especially pediatric community. And the clinical features can be skin, nerves, and mucous membranes. Loss of eyebrows and seizures are the most common complications. But what about is specific for the kids? In pediatric age group, leaving alone the other leonine phases and other limb deformities, nodular epilepsy has been described as early as 1935. It occurs as erythematous violaceous nodule over the face, upper limbs in infants. It can easily mimic something called ringworm, but it is not so. We need to think about bacillus leprosy here. And the complications, the most dreaded ones, are blindness, loss of eyebrows, and also seizures along with paralysis. And multi-drug therapy is indicated, whether it is paucibacillary or multibacillary, 2 antibiotics and daily clofazimine along with rifampicin and dapsone. Usually the course of treatment is for 1 to 2 years for the eradication of the disease. Coming to rabies, which has got no turning back disease, unfortunately, it mimics a viral illness in initial stages. It can present as well as a simple upper respiratory infection that is very common. Infection, the fever, sore throat, loss of appetite, all these things can occur. When it comes to the second stage, there can be chorea, difficulty in swallowing, burning pain and ulcers, very rapidly progressing to a violent behavior and in fact a violent death also, unfortunately. Now, what is the new thing in this? There are 2 types of vaccines available now, unlike 10 years back. There are purified chick embryo vaccine and purified duck embryo vaccine, which are the older ones, which we need to give as 1 ml. And the purified virocell vaccine, which is a newer one, 0.5 ml is enough. And the 0, 3, 7, 14, 28 and 90, among this the 14, 28 has been clubbed now. 4 doses is enough, and the additional 90th dose is optional as before. Now, if it is a large wound with a gaping wound or very near to the head or brain, then human rabies immunoglobulin is the ideal drug of immunoglobulin to be given. If it is not available, then we can go for equine rabies immunoglobulin. Now coming to the other one about which is myths and facts, which I was talking about. When I went through the literature, surprisingly, the myths were albendazole should not be given until 6 years of age, mebendazole 2 years, praziquantel 4 years, niclosamide 2 years. But for ivermectin alone, it was mentioned that less than 15 kilos or less than 90 centimeters, it was not indicated. I was puzzled why mention of age and weight. When I went through the logic in the article, it was given that 50% of the boys by the time they are 28 months of old and 50% of the girls by the time they are 30 months of old achieve these two indicators of growth parameters. That is the reason why for ivermectin alone it has been given. But as far as WHO guidelines go, albendazole can be given as early as even 1 year of age. So it is not 6 years, 2 years or anything. If the age is indicated, if the child requires the medication, off-label use has very well been documented even with World Health Organization. So with this, I'm going to end my talk. Very brief. I will not forget the old diseases which can mimic very simple upper respiratory infection or conjunctivitis or even a lymphoreticular malignancy, but these have to be thought in mind in endemic regions. Thank you.
And stop sharing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We better not forget these forgotten infections. With that, I thank the chairperson and the speakers for this excellent session. And that brings us to the close of this Marina Pedicon 2021. On behalf of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics Chennai City Branch, I extend my heartfelt thanks to each and everyone involved in the making of this conference and making it a very big success. So for the kind attention of delegates, kindly pay ₹25 for your TNMC credit points to the IAP CCB account which will be shared shortly in all the WhatsApp groups. Then you will be able to avail the credit points, and please credit the amount and take a screenshot and share in our IAP CCB broadcast number. Thank you one and all. That was a pleasure having all of you here. See you soon in 2022 in the 5th annual conference of Marina Pedicon. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Shani and Dr. Venkatesan.
Thanks. I thank the TNSC for their help and support.
They know
possible, arranging this evening, and all the faculty for sparing their time and giving an excellent presentation. I thank all the participants also for, I think we had a good participation. Finally, I thank my CCB family members for their efforts in arranging this.